All right, Ken Krager here from Black Swan Financial Advisors again. Addie's not here right now. I do want to do a video with Addie where we can talk about her aspirations for working and having a job and all that kind of stuff. So we'll do that on another video. So this video, again, disclaimer, nothing on this website is to be taken as investment advice, and everything on this website is for educational and informational purposes only. So this one I'm calling Social Security, SSI, ABLE accounts, some of those income-based benefits that your loved one can get when they're a disabled person can get. So this is an interesting topic, and I'm surprised actually by lack of knowledge and information out there. I can tell you about my own experience too. A few years ago, we're trying to figure out ourselves, you've got to think about, let's talk about Social Security. Well, let's actually talk about SSI first, because that'll be the shortest. So SSI is a needs-based benefit that your child with a disability can get from the government and get an income, a monthly income. And actually, because of the cost, because inflation is so high this year, they're going to get an 8.5% raise next year. So it's a needs-based program. So in order to qualify for it, Addie can't have more than $2,000 in assets in her name. She can't own anything. ABLE accounts are the exception, and we'll talk about ABLE accounts a little bit later in this video. So when your child turns 18, you're going to get to go through the guardianship thing, and I don't know, maybe I'll do a video about that a little bit, but after that, they can apply to the Social Security Administration and apply for SSI benefit. And I think the full benefit, if you get the whole thing in 2023, is going to be $900 and something a month. But when Addie started, it was like $770. So let me ask you a question. Can you live on $770 a month if you were trying to live independently? No way, right? That's like way below poverty. And it's needs-based, so you can't have any income, much income. You can, when you work, that's one of the things you got to think about when you're working is how much money do you want to make, because typically there's a band that you don't want to make in between there, because you need to stay below a minimum to make sure you keep your benefits. And if you make in the middle, you're going to lose your benefits, but you're not making enough money to be independent and pay for your own health care and all that and your living expenses and stuff. So then you've got to make a lot more money in order for you to be independent. So most people get jobs where they're making a minimal amount of additional income, spending money basically. And that's going to be Addie's case. But that doesn't mean, for example, It's Me Addie is a nonprofit. That's Addie's organization. It's a nonprofit for her, and it's going to employ people with disabilities, including Addie. And one of the first things we're going to set up is freeze-dried goodies by Addie, and Addie's going to freeze-dry candies and stuff and package them and sell them. And she can do that, and she's going to get a wage. She will not own that company because the state will just take everything. So it'll be a nonprofit. But so SSI, file for that, get that right away. Most of the time, the parents are not taking Social Security benefits. They're not retired yet, maybe when your child turns 18. So most of the time, like Addie started getting SSI. We're still a few years away from getting Social Security. So this was our experience. My experience, I talked to like a half a dozen different financial advisors. And my question to them was, when should I file for Social Security, me and my wife? I have a disabled adult child, so that she gets her benefit and we kind of maximize the family benefit. When should we retire? And they're all kind of saying, well, you should wait, right? You lose too much if you do it early and all that. And I asked them, the question I asked them was, if I file at 62 or 63 or 65 or 67 or whatever, how much money will Addie get? 50% of what? Is it going to be my reduced benefit? Or is it going to be the benefit as though I retired, my full retirement age? And several of them couldn't even give me an answer, and the rest of them gave me the wrong answer. And this is crazy because I called Social Security Department and I talked to 2 different people and I got 2 different answers. Okay? So guess what? I'm going to tell you what the answer is. As long as the parent is taking a Social Security benefit, a disabled adult child can get 50% of their benefit as though they retired at full retirement age. So Addie's benefit would be 50% of my full retirement age benefit, even if I filed at 62. The problem is to get Social Security, which is likely going to be a lot more than SSI. Okay, Addie, under my 50% of my Social Security is going to be a lot higher than SSI. So the problem is that they don't no longer have a file and suspend kind of thing. You have to file and go into start taking Social Security in order for your spouse or a dependent to file. But there's a strategy. Did you know that every month when you get your Social Security check, you have to report whether or not you had income? And if you have income, then they'll suspend your benefit for that month and you'll have to pay them back. But then you don't get any benefit. But guess what? You get credit. You get credit, and that adds on to the credit for later. So say, for example, I retired at 62, and I get my benefit, and Addie gets 50%. And then I keep working. And when my Social Security check comes, I put it in the bank, and I don't spend a dime because I'm going to give it back because I'm still working. But I don't want to stop my benefit because that would stop Addie's benefit. So basically, if I worked for a year, I give my Social Security back for that year. I get another year. It says if I keep taking it and stop working, so I'm getting my benefit every month and I just give it back. Okay. I'm not retired, so I don't know the mechanics of that yet, but that's kind of how it would work. Is you just if you don't spend it and you don't take the benefit, then that's a good, and you get, it's by quarter. So Social Security gives you credit by quarter. So if you did that for a couple of years, you filed at 62, your child starts getting half of your Social Security as though you retired at like 67 or whatever, and then you work for a couple of years, don't take the Social Security, then you stop working, and then say you worked 2 years or 3 years, then it would be as though you retired at 64 or 65, and your benefit's going to go up. Addie, your dependent is already getting half of what your full benefit would have been. Okay, so that's actually what we're going to do. We're going to file when we're 62. It's kind of cool. I could either work or not. I'll probably work part-time. You can actually, another Social Security strategy, right, is you can earn so much income before it affects your Social Security at all. And then what happens is you lose $1 of Social Security for every $2 you earn. At least that's the rules right now, right? So if I'm getting $20,000 of Social Security, I can earn $40,000 extra above the minimum before I would lose all of my Social Security. Okay, so look at your overall. Again, I can help you with this, right? We can relay it all down. It's just math. It's just math. Let's talk. So we talked about SSI, which is needs-based. Social Security is not needs-based. It's based on the parent's work history. It's a benefit. You've already earned it, and your child gets it for free. So it has no effect on, you're having a certain amount of income to get it. Now you're going to have to be careful even with SSI. Remember, in Arizona, Addie can only have $2,000 in her name, or she can lose her benefits and the state will take her money. So if she's getting $1,000 a month, what do? Okay, this is another thing about SSI. Again, it's needs-based. When you first meet with Social Security the very first time, this is a key point. Everybody, key point, okay? Tell them your child pays rent, even if your child is living in your home. You don't even have to tell them how much. Because what will happen is if your child is not paying rent and they're living with their parents, they have a nice formula where the government decides, well, the parents are contributing a certain amount to, their housing expense, and so the SSI will be reduced. So like Addie's first SSI, when she was supposed to get 770 or something, it was like $500. Like they reduced it by 25 or 30%. Tell them she pays rent, they pay rent, and when they get their SSI, pay rent. Addie pays rent to live in this house. Her living expenses, she pays a few $100s a month. And so that way she can get she gets her full benefit, right? This is where ABLE accounts can come in, because Addie, she has a bank account, but we have to make sure it stays below $2,000. And so every month she has a debit card, and every month we go in there, automatically the rent comes out, goes into one of our accounts. She has a certain amount of money that goes onto her debit card so that she can spend. She paid for her own Disney cruise. She paid for that herself. But remember, you can't save more than $2,000. So there's this really nice thing that they came out with called an ABLE account, which is kind of like a retirement or a savings account that people with disabilities can put money into there, and they can save it without affecting that $2,000 asset limit. Great. There's just one caveat that you should be aware of, and that is that if they die or when they die, whatever money is left over in that account does not go to an heir or a beneficiary. The state will take it. So if Addie had saved $100,000 in the ABLE account and she died, we don't get the $100,000. Her brothers and sisters don't get the $100,000. The state will take the $100,000. Okay? So how do you use an ABLE account? My recommendation is that you use it as a temporary parking place to accumulate cash so that your loved one can go do something that they want that costs more than $2,000. Okay, so right now, next year, for Addie's senior trip, she wants to go to New York and go see plays on Broadway. So we're putting money into her ABLE account, and we will take money out and buy the plane tickets and buy the hotel and buy the Broadway tickets. Again, I told you she paid for the Disney cruise. The Disney cruise was more than $2,000 to fly to Florida and get on the Disney cruise and everything. And so again, put money in the ABLE account, and then let it accumulate there. But don't let too much accumulate in there, because if your loved one passes away, it's going to go back to the state. I already pay taxes, okay? I don't want to give the state any more money than I absolutely have to. So anyway, that was a little bit about SSI, Social Security benefits, and ABLE accounts. Contact me if you have more questions. And I'm hoping you're following me along in my life journey. Next one of the ones I'm going to do, we're going to talk about businesses and working and stuff. But I want Addie to be here when I do that. Thanks. See you later.